Have you ever talked to a salesman who came off too salesy? I'm sure at some point you've been stopped by a car salesman or a salesman at the store for some phone or internet company who really managed to make you feel like you've been trapped in some sort of sales pitch or conversation that you really don't want to be in. Well, there's a few differences in that sales pitch and in an insurance sales pitch. Insurance sales has a few processes that make insurance pitches more of a serious conversation about protection rather than some sort of pitch for some item that you probably don't need. Here's the overall process and what you should look out for when talking to an insurance salesman. Insurance isn't about selling you a product. It's about letting you choose the best option on your own while making sure that you understand what you're looking at. The main problem for the salesman is getting someone interested in looking at what their options are. So whenever I make a phone call, it typically can start a little something like this. Ring ring. Hey name, this is Landon. How are you, my friend? There's a lot of psychology that goes into insurance sales. The process itself has to take the viewpoint of a salesman who understands and a potential client who has no clue what to look for. Unfortunately, most insurance companies do a terrible job of explaining how insurance works. So for this reason, insurance can be scary to clients, which is why I always be sure to ask how they're doing and call them my friend. Calling them my friend will automatically elicit a genuine answer to how they're doing. After all, who would want to lie to a friend? Now, based on how they answer that question, I can shift my own perspective to make sure I match the tone that they want to start the conversation in. Doing this is the first step in the process to take a negative tonality and turn it into a good one. Start with their response, and then slowly help them shift their attitude. Now, once you've managed to turn the conversation into a positive environment that the client is okay continuing with, you'll introduce yourself again, but this time with your company title. This is Landon. I'm the account manager here at Thomas Weber State Farm. I was reaching out to you because I saw that you requested a quote for your vehicle. I just need to verify some info with you so I can get that going. Now never ever say you're a salesman. The word itself is very standoffish. No one likes talking to a salesman. Always use words or titles that make you seem more interested in them as a person, not your sale to them. When I refer to myself as an account manager, clients will naturally stop and think, wow, why is the manager of State Farm calling me? From here, telling the client that you need to verify some info with them is more effective than asking them if you can quote them. Why? Because when you ask, they will always say no if you haven't built enough rapport with them, even if they actually are looking for insurance quotes. Always assume they're looking for a quote. Why else would you have called them in the first place? If they're truly not looking for any quotes, they'll just tell you at this point, even if you don't ask. That is the opening sequence when I make a phone call to go over a quote. The second portion, assuming they haven't said no already, is to run through the questionnaire as quickly as possible. You do this because you don't want to take up too much of their time, but you also don't want to run through so fast that you forget to keep building rapport with them. Never just read out the questions to them, and only ask the extremely important ones. Know the questions you need answers to ahead of time. That way you can get past them without any hesitations. Also remember to weave the questions into your pre-existing conversation. Don't make it seem like those questions are actually all that important. Make it seem like you're genuinely just curious, not that you need those answers. Once you get past the questionnaire, you'll be on to the quote itself. This is the important area where it all ties back to the beginning when I mentioned that your main job is to step aside and make sure they can read and understand what they're looking at. This will be faced with sometimes hundreds, they will be faced sometimes with hundreds of options. Go through them with the client and explain what is and isn't needed. This is the responsibility of the insurance producer. It is our job to make sure the client knows and understands exactly what they're covered for and exactly what they should and shouldn't have on their coverage. This is the overall process of an insurance sales pitch. The hard part of the sales process is getting the client to the coverages screen. As an insurance producer, I understand that I can save people money and offer them better coverage. But from the start, the client is skeptical of someone who they don't know calling them. That's why it's so important to know the sales process within the insurance world. Because insurance isn't some new product that just dropped and is selling out quickly. It's a necessary protection from the unexpected that most people never know they need until it's too late. So when you get a call from someone in insurance, it's probably in your best interest to go ahead and just hear them out.